and friends, you know when you sit in an airplane and then the pilot tells you on the PA system to sit back, relax, and enjoy your flight. He or she doesn't say that just for saying it. He or she means that you can sit back and relax because you are safe. Because that's the number one priority for us in the aviation industry is for you to be comfortable, for you to feel safe on the airplanes that you fly in. But like I told you before, friends and friends, we have professionals working in the industry, you know, maintenance, um, air traffic air traffic control, dispatch, all around. We have a common goal, which is to maintain the aircraft, the airplanes, so they can be airworthy at all times for your safety. And we are professionals. We are professionals, but also we have no choice because aviation safety is regulated, you know, by the federal government. So uh, either way, you should feel safe. You should feel comfortable when you get into an airplane to fly, and when as soon as you're ready to fly, most of the time you see you get into the airplane and you see the flight, you see the flight attendants, you see the pilots, um, and then maybe you may think, okay, that's it. No. There are a lot of people working very hard behind the scene to make sure that you're safe on an aircraft. You know, so it's a teamwork. It's a teamwork. A lot of people you don't see, but they still contribute to your safety. You know, the mechanics, you know, the traffic controllers, the dispatchers, they all contribute to your safety. So like I said, safety is regulated, and aviation safety, aviation related regulation in the United States um, has been around for a long time. Uh, I can tell you that aviation related regulation in the U.S. Started with the postal service programs back in the days. Actually, this country experimented with the carriage of air mail through the postal service as early as 1911, and by 1920 the post office department has conceived 4 aeronautical stations in the United States. Those stations maintains bonfires in order to assist aviators with aerial navigation at night. So you're talking about in the early days, in the 1920, you know, the traffic, you know, the air traffic was actually controlled by bonfires, which is, you know, this is actual fire we're talking about. That's the way it started in 1911, with the post office department as the administrator of traffic control. By the night, I would say, by the late by the late 1920, however, there were some improvements. The bonfires were replaced by beacon lights, and that's quite an improvement right there. So from bonfires to beacon lights. The beacon lights at that time were operated by the Department of Commerce Lighthouse Division. Okay, the Department of Commerce at that time has a lighthouse division. That's the division that actually operated the beacon lights to guide to guide aviators with aerial navigation at night. So well, now they were using beacon light. Now there were still room for improvement. Okay, that's the reason why now the bonfire, the beacon lights were subsequently replaced by radio range technology. The radio range RR technology was introduced and implemented. So that's real improvement in that. Now we're talking about modern traffic control communication system, I would say. So however, the radio range technology was not implemented until the 1930s. So, you know, that's the way things things start. You know, you start at a low level, then with the advance of technology, then you can make things, you can modernize stuff, make things better. So with the with with the bonfires, they had the fires were operated by bonfire attendants. Okay, so like I just told you, the bonfire is actually actual fire, and maybe to these days they might be in use for different applications, you know. Um, so at the beginning with the bonfire system, there were bonfire attendants, and when the beacon light came about, then the bonfire attendants were replaced by beacon lights attendants, and then of course when the radio range system arrived, so now they were the beacon lights attendants were eventually replaced by the radio range attendants. So there were, as you can see, there were some progress made with regard to the navigation system back in those days, 1911, 1920, and in 1930. Also, there was by the with the radio range in place now, there was something else came up. There was a flight service station. Flight service station came up, and then the flight service station FSS actually was introduced because the influence by the bonfire, the beacon light, and the radio range systems. Okay, let me put it this way. The flight service system came about because of those three systems, those three prior systems. Okay, the bonfire, the beacon lights, and the radio range. Okay, so today we know that we have a very sophisticated traffic control system, and then you know, you got all those airplanes in the air, some flying at the same altitude, and then over the same points, and then there's no issue for them to fly together in the same sky. It's because we have a sophisticated air traffic control system in this country. So, but it was not always, as you can see, well, it was not always this way. So, but we have come a long way. We have made progress. You, you know, the actually the air traffic control per se started with the Air Commerce Act of 1926. Let me repeat that. The air traffic control per se started in 1926 with the passage of the Air Commerce Act, which was believe it or not the first aviation safety regulation enacted by the United States Congress. And the main purpose of that act was to promote air commerce, and with that comes with that came safety. That act, the act of the Commerce Act of 1926 was a very important act, because the other forms of transportation were doing pretty well at that time. Were doing pretty well. Yeah, they were doing pretty good at the time, and the aviation industry was lacking in progress. So the passage of that of the Commerce Act of 1926 by the U.S. Congress was very crucial, was very important for the time. And that act, what it did, it charged the executive branch of the federal government with the operation and maintenance of an airway system, as well as with the promotion of the air commerce, and also as well as providing air navigation aids, and with you got the executive branch of the federal government was charged with the operation of with the operation and maintenance of an airway system. Excuse me. It was charged with providing a safe navigation system, NAVAIDS, and it was also charged with the promotion of air commerce through a system of regulation. Okay, so, and in this case, the in the Department of Commerce found it necessary to actually monitor safety. Okay, so what it did within the, um, within the department, okay, it was created a Bureau of Air Commerce to actually, take care of the safety, monitoring and safety development and so on and so on. That was a bureau that was created inside the Department of Commerce to take care of safety promotion in aviation. However, the actual function of controlling aircraft, the actual function of controlling aircraft within the air traffic system was not really taken care of until by the federal government until like another decade. Okay, so slowly everything was getting better and better. Progress was being made. Okay, so by air traffic control in the early 1930s, at that time the possibility of two aircraft arriving simultaneously, over the same point and at the same time, at the same altitude, seemed very remote, and no one thought that possibility could exist, to have two aircraft, same altitude, arriving simultaneously at an airport. That did not seem possible at that time, and because there was not any one single agency, unified agency that was controlling the air traffic. There was not like a standard a standardized regulation, operated by or I would say monitored by a single unified agency. Rather, what was happening at the time, and en route, location of aircrafts, en route location of aircraft, or airline or company planes were monitored by each of the individual air carriers, and over their own separate and distinct radio frequency. So there was no single agency, directing air traffic, in a standardized way. Every air carrier, was taking care of their own navigation, their own traffic control operation, and they were using their own radio and distinct radio frequencies to do so. Okay, so that was in the early 1930s, and as a matter of fact, there were there were three airline operated centers in the mid 1930s to control their own planes, to control the air traffic of their own aircraft. So there were three airline operated centers in the mid 1930s for air traffic control. There was one in Newark, New Jersey, one in Cleveland, Ohio, and one in Chicago, Illinois. So those three centers, they were the big centers for controlling for air traffic control. Okay, so but by, I would say, 1936, these three centers, by 1936, those three centers I just told you, one in Newark, New Jersey, one in Cleveland, Ohio, and the other one is in Chicago, Illinois. By 1936, they were transferred to the Department of Commerce, and then and they were under the Bureau of Air Commerce, which was a division of the Department of Commerce to manage safety. Okay, so that's the way it was, and by 1930, I would say on July 6, 1986, did you know the FAA celebrated the first 50 years of air traffic control? And at that time, the FAA recognized that those air centers, those airline operated centers that were doing quite a decent job, but the FAA realized that that kind of duties did not belong to the airlines themselves. They at the time, the FAA realized that they should not let the airline manage their own traffic control, and then using their own radio frequency, all that stuff. So At that time, the FAA realized that, and but it was not until 1941. Yeah, it was until 1941 that the federal government, through the Civil Aeronautics Administration, began operating air traffic towers. You see all those the traffic towers that you see at airports in the United States, all over the world also. So those traffic towers, you know, did not exist until 1941, and then this is the time that the civil civil aeronautics administration, CAA, came about. So now from bonfires to beacon lights, and, and we still radio range, and now we have towers. We have air traffic control towers. That's a big. That was a big realization in aviation. So so now with those towers, now we we could say we could safely say that we arrived at a modern air traffic control system, a modern air traffic control service, and also and that air traffic control service, the modern air traffic control service, comprised three important parts, three separate areas: the terminal, en route, and flight service. The terminal, is based on control and known traffic and airport conditions. The en route or en route flight en route air traffic control facilities provide services to aircraft on IFR, service to aircraft on instrument flight rules, and the flight service station, are air traffic facility that provide assistance to pilots, such as flight briefings, en route advisory, I would say search and rescue, stuff like emergency situations and so on. So at that time, in 19 when we finally got tires, when we finally got towers, not tires, towers, which actually modernized the air traffic control system. Everything, things got better. The sky became safer and more friendly. So that's a little something I wanted to tell you about aviation regulation. So I hope you feel safe, and I hope when you get on an aircraft, you don't worry, because we are we are taking care of you. We are taking care of the planes you are flying in. We are maintaining them, you know, uh, properly, in order to make your flights more comfortable and safer. So stay safe out there, and take care of yourself. Take care of yourselves, and be good to one another.